Hello, and welcome back to the #1 survival guide of the Cylinder. And today we shall trek farther north than we've ever gone before, past the equatorial ocean to find ourselves in the windswept hills of the wildland. As you trek through the muddy, clay-caked riverbank, you see storm clouds beginning to form. As you look down, you see the sad, wind-swept grass trying desperately to grow in such a hostile landscape. So far, what you've seen of this place paints a very grim picture. However, it is not all gloomy, as you begin to hear the sound of something singing very gracefully in the distance. What you heard was a wind sheep, a species of sheep that spend most of its time in herds grazing on wind wheat, an abundant species of wheat found all throughout the wildland. Over time, their two horns slowly fused into one central crest above their head, along with their nostrils, allowing them to create those sounds you heard earlier, through very intricate passageways in their horns. As you continue walking, you see more steep hills, and the basalt pillars that once were much smaller have now become much larger and are dotted all around the hills. And before you knew it, it began to rain. And as it did, you noticed something that was previously invisible slowly scampered into a burrow built into one of the basalt pillars. It was a basalt ant, a species of ant that is mostly subterranean but still comes out during the day to eat. Their diet mainly consists of smaller insects, scraps of meat, and hand-harvested wind wheat. They will eat this wheat and then regurgitate it, turning it into a sort of bread-like doughy substance that they will then feed to their children in their nests. The reason why they are called basalt ants is because they opted for building stronger nests inside of the large stalks of basalt. They do this to protect themselves better from animal attacks. Which is also why they have those long forward-facing mandibles that they use almost like pickaxes. As you make your way up the hill, you find yourself slowly beginning to see the clouds coming down until it eventually becomes sort of a thick blanket of fog on the hills. As you begin walking through the thick wheat fields on the hill, you start seeing something moving in the grass. It was a lizard wolf, and despite its striking appearance to an alligator, it is actually not related to an alligator or a wolf. It is actually more closely related to an armadillo. However, the reason why it has diverged on a more crocodilian body plan is because it is trying to blend in better with the tall grass of its environment. However, one thing it does share in common with alligators and crocodiles is that it falls into the category of an ambush predator, usually hanging out around bodies of water and rivers, waiting for basalt ants and wind sheep to cross its path. Suddenly you see the lizard wolf gets snatched out of the grass by an absolutely massive wind tiger. Wind tigers are one of the largest felines in the world, with even just the tip of their snout being larger than the average human head. And with a body mass like that, they'll have to be hunting large, protein-rich game like wind sheep and lizard wolves. However, they are not the apex predator of these lands, no. A much larger beast holds that title. Luckily, the wind tiger was satisfied with its kill and spared you, but now it is thunderstorming. Luckily, you spotted a cave in the mountain before things got too crazy out here, and you made a break for it. The cave was extremely dark, and in between the white noise sounds of the rain outside, you could hear the sound of something breathing deeper in the cave. And soon after, there was a sudden lightning strike outside, allowing you to see more of the cave. And in the darkness, you could see 2 pinpricks of light staring back at you, as well as the shadow of large reptilian wings looming over the silhouette of the cave. It was a blisterback dragon, named after its extremely razor-sharp and rough scales, almost like sandpaper, that cause blisters if rubbed up against, and can also cause extreme bleeding if touched, and are also used when flying, as this species of rhino dragon is the fastest in the world, being able to get up to 56 miles an hour in the air. However, their breath weapon has mostly atrophied in favor of a new weapon. For you see, blisterback dragons during thunderstorms will climb to the tops of hills, the tallest hills, and wait for lightning to strike their front horn, which will then charge it up, allowing them to create an electricity beam when hunting, allowing them to take down the largest of prey, including lizard wolves, wind tigers, and wind sheep. Truly, these apex predators are the most deadly creatures we've seen on our adventure so far. And unfortunately, you also fell victim to the same beast that killed so many other travelers before. And that brings us to the end of this chapter of the Survival Guide.